Griselda Blanco was born February 15, 1943 in Cartagena, Colombia, which is the Caribbean coast. At the age of 3, along with her mother, Ana Lucia Restrepo, they moved to Medellin, Colombia. They lived in basically a tent home in the mountains of Medellin. She lived among the poorest of the poor. They had no bathroom facilities within the interior of the home, no running water, no electricity. There was really no laws that the people in the mountains followed.
Many South American countries are very accustomed to extreme violence.
You have to go back many years into Colombia's history. The era of la violencia in Colombia. For 40 years, there were massacres.
The godmother ran into dead bodies almost on a daily basis, even as a child.
The Colombian traffickers were kids during that La Violencia era, and they grew up seeing their parents and their grandparents and brothers and sisters being murdered in front of them.
What she and the other slum kids would do, they would dig a hole in the ground and throw the body in the hole and throw dirt over the body. There was nothing else to do for the slum children. It doubled as a sort of fun for the godmother and her friends.
It is not a good way for a child to grow.
And these slum children, they had access to guns.
And rather than die, they're going to commit crimes to eat.
So what they would do, they would go around recruiting other kids, to join in various causes. Griselda was 11 years old at the time. They kidnapped a young child, I believe he was a 10-year-old child, from the Medellin flatlands, which was where the well-to-do lived. Took him up to the hills, and they had designs of shaking his family down for money. For whatever reasons, the family never gave the young peasants the money. They gave Griselda a gun and dared her to shoot the kid between the eyes. So the godmother, 11 years old, shot the kid between his eyes, and the kid died. That's the first murder that she committed in her life at 11 years old. The godmother's mother, Ana Lucia Restrepo, was an alcoholic. They had a strained relationship. During Ana's incessant drinking binges, she would physically assault Griselda. Griselda decided one day, tired of being jumped on by my mom, so I'm going to fight back. I'm going to stand my own ground. So this one particular night, it was pouring down, outside. It was driving rain. Ana began beating Griselda up with her fists. She grabbed her by her hair with one hand and started punching her in the face with the other hand. Griselda was kicking and screaming, but she was no match for Ana because Ana was 100 pounds heavier than Griselda. She knocked Griselda to the ground. So once on the floor, Ana started stomping Griselda. So Griselda was finally able to get up off the floor and run towards the door. Blood flowing from her nose, from her mouth, face swollen up. Ana grabbed her by her shirt. Griselda was still in the motion of running, so the shirt actually ripped from her back. So by the time she got outside, she was bare-chested. She only had pants on. So she ran through the driving rain, past the pits of mud, past the Roman cows, the wild pigs, and she worked her way all the way into the Medellin Valley. From the time that she was forced from home at the age of 14, up until she was in her early 20s, the godmother was a prostitute in Colombia.
Then she met her first husband, Trujillo.
Griselda's first husband, Carlos Trujillo, was the father of her 3 sons, Dixon, Uber, and Osvaldo. Carlos passed away. Griselda met a guy named Alberto Bravo.
Alberto Bravo was allegedly her common-law husband.
He would also be the man to introduce her to cocaine dealing. They became just another couple selling drugs in Colombia, small-time drug dealers. Alberto explained to Griselda, well, let's go see if we can live the American dream in the United States. So together with Griselda, her 3 kids, and Alberto, packed up and moved to New York City. They moved to Queens, New York. Griselda Blanco had a goal and she had a mission to flood the United States with her Colombian cocaine. Within months, Griselda Blanco and Alberto Bravo, they were millionaires within months, literally.
Griselda saw the American market as a new testing ground. The competition was severe back in the early 70s.
Authorities say there's an avalanche of cocaine crossing our borders.
By 1972, Griselda had basically wrestled control of the drug trade from not only 5 mafia families who were operating at the highest levels of cocaine dealing at that point, but also all of the independent dealers who were in Queens and the surrounding areas at that time. They were moving probably about a ton of cocaine every 3 weeks or so. She had started with $26,000 in lifetime savings. A year after that, her and her husband, Alberto Bravo, shared a weekly income of $10 million.
It became evident that she was a significant trafficker, one of the spokes in a major cocaine distribution conspiracy.
Well, in 1975, after having sold drugs in Queens, New York for the better part of 3 years, a federal grand jury in the Eastern District of New York found that there was enough evidence to indict the godmother.
Just 1 month before the tall ship Gloria from Columbia, South America, graced New York Harbor during the Opsail bicentennial celebration, she was stopped and 13 pounds of cocaine were found on board.
Those indicted were Alberto Bravo and Griselda Blanco.
Along with 37 of her subordinates for conspiracy to import cocaine. This was the first major cocaine indictment against a major cocaine trafficker in the United States.
During the course of the investigation, she had not surfaced. She was always the elusive individual, the mystery woman, so to speak. When it came time to take the case down, we didn't know where they were.
She basically became a federal fugitive.
There were several seizures that took place, which in my belief caused the primary subjects to head south.